This video is sponsored by Surfshark. More on them later. Guys, it hasn't even been 2 months, and Ryan Murphy's newest show is no longer his newest show. He's got another one. He's tackled American crime stories 3 times, infamous behind-the-scenes feuds, and famous American serial killers. There's even one about sports, apparently. And now, the latest butchering of real-life events is Love Story, an anthology series about famous love stories. Kept you guessing there, didn't I? The first season is about the whirlwind courtship and marriage of John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette Kennedy, and someone from the Kennedy estate has already complained about the show's portrayal of events. Oh, Ryan, you incorrigible man. But alas, the beauty is no longer the latest in his repertoire, but it is the stupidest. Yeah, you heard that right. What, you wanted a cohesive story that makes sense and does a good job at handling its very complex themes without sacrificing appropriate emotional arcs for its characters? Yeah, me neither. Give me a silly, nonsensical fantasy laced with no consistent character, storylines, or style, but has hot people covered in goo. A few weeks ago, I reviewed the first 3 episodes of The Beauty, and it was fun as fuck. And now I'm back with the rest of the season, so you don't have to sit through Ashton Kutcher's face for an unacceptable amount of time. And I'm happy to report the show is exactly what you'd expect from Ryan Murphy at this point. It starts off quite interesting and mysterious, gripping even, and then it loses the plot. Like, if losing the plot was a sport, Ryan Murphy would be world champion every single year. We were already pushing buttons with a personal hitman of a billionaire who's trying to contain the spread of an STD that turns people into ticking time bombs with abs and good teeth. But then they actually got the story moving to the point of commercial distribution, and my god, if low effort was a script, we'd be looking at American Horror Story Apocalypse and The Beauty locking in for a very heated tete-a-tete to see who is worse. Probably still American Horror Story. I mean, that whole doomsday bunker situation, what was that about? And then time travel? Guys, just bring the witches back. But back to The Beauty, which is very messy. And at times, it actually works. They delve into themes of beauty beyond aesthetics and tap into using this virus for health reasons, longevity, and even explore themes of gender identity. But these moments feel underdeveloped and tonally jarring from the rest of the show. I don't think the score works when we're watching 2 agents have a loving moment together or 2 friends talking about their hopes and dreams, the same way it works when we're watching the richest man on earth kill his billionaire friends after they emerge from their goo sacks looking younger and hotter than before. Like at Variety, not everything needs to sound the same. There's also pew-pewing, really incompetent FBI agents, hitmen with feelings, and billionaires seeking redemption. Yeah, you heard that right. But before we discuss how the plot truly falls apart, I have some very pressing news. This video is sponsored by Surfshark. Surfshark VPN, or Virtual Private Network, has thousands of servers in 140 locations, allowing you to access and unblock content libraries and streaming services from other countries. Take me, for example. The thing about me is I like to relax and rest after a long, hard day at work. I've been wanting to watch the latest Jurassic World movie because watching big, scary dinosaurs chasing people brings me peace. Unfortunately for UK residents such as myself, Jurassic World Rebirth is not on Netflix UK. With Surfshark VPN, all you have to do is connect to a US server, and just like that, voila, dinosaurs await. Now, an island with dangerous animals lurking in the trees, waiting for the most opportune moment to attack. And the best way to stay safe is to go undetected. Kinda like the internet these days. Surfshark VPN encrypts your online data and helps secure your personal information so you can browse the internet safely, even when you use free public Wi-Fi networks. For all of you kids out there who like to work from cafes and other cute places in the city, now you can do it safely. Surfshark masks your IP address so none of your online activity can be linked back to you, and it doesn't monitor, track, or store what you do online either, so you can truly stay invisible. You can now surf the web and explore the dinosaur island all undetected. Wait, where are you? Oh, I can't see you anymore. You must be using Surfshark VPN. Go to surfshark.com/StutterBox or click the link in my description, or you can also use code StutterBox at checkout so you can get an extra 4 months of Surfshark VPN. And they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there is no risk to try it out. do it. Thank you to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video, and now back to New York. Episode 4 picks up after the Vogue incident. Remember when Meghan Trainor was thrown out the window of the skyscraper and Ben Platt ate chunks of the woman that exploded? Cooper interrogates this other guy who tells him that Manny, Ben Platt's character, is kind of a predator. Cut to Cooper asking Manny questions and holding his hand for comfort, and Manny just goes off on how his love language is bottoming and sucking dick. God giveth and God taketh away. Like, sure, Ryan Murphy gives us queer representation, but at what cost? Lots of great body horror moments when Manny starts turning. He pulls out his arm from the straps and it skins his hand. It's so gross and so fun. Then he goes on a rampage through this highly secure and classified building, which looks like a secret investigation facility of sorts, and Cooper gives chase. And with so many safety precautions in this highly secure building, why is Cooper the only one following him? Not another person inside helping him. There's no agents, there's no security people, there's no security cameras monitoring the situation. They just let him go. They go through this wing of the building where they're experimenting with skin grafts and other advanced medical procedures, and they have this massive storage back room of containers with donated skin from beautiful people, and it's weird.
Do not let beauty be wasted on the dead!
Like, it's just weird. Manny finally emerges from his goo sack as this specimen right here. Poor Ben, hired to play the before of this dude. Cooper sucks as an FBI agent. He is terrible at fighting and he gets his ass whooped by this completely unprepared person in this very intricately choreographed scene where one of them is fully nude. And Manny is eventually taken down, but not before he realizes he's super hot and super strong, and he tries taking Cooper down with like a dozen agents pointing tasers at him. Like, what was the working logic here? You know, like, what was the plan? We also get a shopping montage of the hitmen. Antonio, aka the assassin, is teaching Jeremy how to dress and how to safely have intercourse with women without infecting them. And then they're hired to go to New York to kill one of the live ones at the CDC. And Byron, played by Ashton Kutcher, every line out of his mouth makes him sound grosser and more repugnant by the minute. Like just a caricature of an evil billionaire.
Skin gets tighter, my ass gets higher. I can fuck 5 times a day, it'd still be hard as a rock.
And this sack of shit is planning to launch the beauty on World Beauty Day as a miracle pharmaceutical product for people to just take and turn into other people. The lead scientist worriedly tells him these boosters are losing their efficacy the more Byron takes them, and warns against possible mutations and anomalies and how they need to run further tests. But Byron doesn't give a fuck. None of that matters because none of that affects the money. And he gives him a whole speech riddled with buzzwords and key phrasing, and it genuinely felt like a PR article meant to hit all of the SEO terms for searchability and discoverability online and whatever else. Yes.
I'm giving them an injectable Instagram filter. This is the attention economy. Instant gratification at all costs.
Oh, and he also took the beauty 1,238 days ago, aka 3.4 years. Yes, I did the math. This means that I have a lot of questions that will be answered. But before we get to that, Jordan comes back. Remember Jordan, Rebecca Hall? They forced her to turn into a younger woman. Well, she knocks at Cooper's door. And then episode 5 pissed me off and then made me laugh. A story in 2 parts. Pissed me off because for some goddamn reason, and after concluding that she was probably targeted in Italy because she was investigating these cases so closely, they go have a meal at a restaurant in a public place. But more so than this absolute stupidity is Jordan's speech explaining how after she woke up from her beauty sleep in her goo sack, and after the initial shock wore down, she felt finally seen. She was turning heads and getting treated like she was special, and despite being infected with this dangerous virus, to the world, she was just stunning, drop dead gorgeous. And she's saying all of this as if she was repugnant before. Are we? Hello? Hello. Now, I know you can't be serious because by any standards of beauty, Rebecca Hall, like what? Like, are we, come on. What are we, blind? And she gallivants around town having little coffees by the river. I'm sorry, are we stupid? We're just gonna relax after we woke up a completely different human after a virus that we've been investigating that causes people to blow up in 2 years, but let's have a meal. Huh? Let's have a nice dinner and discuss how we feel about the way we look, because that's what matters here. They do agree to not have sex just in case she is contagious, so at least they made one good decision, right? Just wait until episode 9. And the second part to the story, the part that made me laugh, was watching Byron take the beauty. We knew by episode 3 that Ashton Kutcher was the after of this transformation, right? And I don't know why, but I stupidly assumed that he had taken it like 20 or so years prior because, you know, everyone turns into catwalk ready chiseled models in their early 20s and Ashton is in his late 40s. I was wrong. Uh, for whatever's worth, he's it. That is it. And there's no refunds. There's no consistency. Remember when Rebecca Hall had to turn into someone 17 years younger? Oh yeah, I checked the ages online. 17 years and she's as close to 40 as Ashton is to 50. So why the hell does she have to go younger and he can just be old? And I want to clarify that I'm saying old by the beauty standards, right? How come Rebecca turns into someone younger and then he just turns into someone that's older than her starting point? And this is so shady because he's the guy who's financing the virus. You know, he's the one who's investing in all the research. So for him to be the only one who comes out of it looking like a middle-aged man when everyone else is just beautiful and young and gorgeous. And he's not even pissed about it. Like, he goes in with 4 other wrinkly billionaires and they all come out fresh out of college looking peak performance humans. And he's like their dad who got sucked into a wormhole that sent him into a 20-year-long deep sleep that aged his body out. It doth not make sense. They really just wanted to cast him in this role. Damn. That's a fucking choice. So Byron invites 4 other billionaires to try out this new thing he's been developing. And the good thing about billionaires is how you can make like blanket factual statements about them, like all billionaires suck. So the lead scientist who came up with the beauty explains that the virus revamps the human body, rewrites their DNA at a cellular level, essentially eradicating anything bad and adding functionality. That's enough to convince them, and all 5 of them go into this padded room and everyone emerges young and beautiful, except for Byron, who downgrades to a little bit. He then gets a rifle he snuck in and kills the other 4 so no one else has a stake in this pharmaceutical miracle sure to be worth trillions of dollars soon. But I know the truth. He killed them so he wouldn't have to be embarrassed to admit that he got the shit end of the stick. Like, imagine a virus that turns your best friend into Isaac Powell and your other bestie into Bella Hadid, and you wake up Ashton Kutcher in his late 40s. Ugh. He then burns the mansion to the ground after having slaughtered all the staff and witnesses. We get it, right? Like, he's ruthless, no redeeming qualities about him. He cares for nothing and no one. Good. In episode 6, Byron finds out the virus is sexually transmittable as he raw dogs a flight attendant on his private jet. You know, certain scenes don't have to go the way they go. The lead scientist has a lot to say after convincing the richest people on the planet that his creation was perfect. The virus is living inside of Byron, coursing through his veins, and unfortunately it's impossible to know how it will behave within such a short-term incubation window. And Byron hasn't really been keen to do his follow-ups or tests to allow the team to monitor how the virus is reacting inside of his body, because he feels great, therefore it must be great. The scientist also explains the virus is transmissible the same way HIV is, and warns that there could be anomalies and changes they can't predict. But Byron only listens to him when he tells him that if the STD version of this virus gets out, it could turn his miracle trillion-dollar product into a cheap street drug. That gets his ears prickled up, you know, when it affects stocks and money. So he has the flight attendant shot and killed in this horrendous-looking scene. Is that all CGI? Was renting a runway for 2 hours that expensive? Where's Kim K when you need her? Am I right? Right after, we get this long-ass choreographed dancing number, which is extremely off-putting and unnecessary and exactly the reason why people turn off your shows, Ryan. He then reveals himself to his wife, his new look, and invites her to join him in this crusade. And the language he uses is so vulgar.
You finally shed that bulging shit belly, so you're welcome.
I get they're trying to make this character as unlikable as possible, and trust me, okay, you got that once you cast this man, but this is just gratuitous.
I'll venture into that deli counter you've got in your pants.
But then he goes and has Byron give Franny a presentation of his business model, and look how she sat in the auditorium. I mean, it's so so like, I hate it, but then I immediately love it. It's no consistency. His business plan is really simple: release the beauty into the public and make money. Franny mentions the FDA and all of these other real-life challenges to his very ridiculously over-the-top, far-fetched plan, but this is a Ryan Murphy show.
Nobody's gonna give a shit!
Byron says no one's gonna care after they see his results, and he's gonna make so much money that everything else is just gonna fall into place. Like, he can use his wealth to basically overcome all of these real life challenges. Part of me thinks it's an interesting point to make, because I do think that if this virus existed, it would fundamentally change how we see medicine. But the way that he very brazenly asserts that there aren't any obstacles that his tremendous wealth won't be able to overcome, that's a bit more far-fetched. But then again, I don't think we should ever underestimate the power billionaires actually have and how much influence they're able to yield behind the scenes and what they're actually doing right now. So you know what, I guess, sure, fuck it. Let's go with it. And to make a barely logical plan even more impossible, the scientist tells Byron that the virus is now a fully formed, mutating, self-replicating virus, and that approximately 855 days after dosage, a type of catastrophic reaction happens: ignition ketosis.
Whoa!
He also says the STD version spreading is even more prone to mutations and anomalies, and promises to continue working on permanent treatments and boosters, because if he doesn't, Byron has him killed. He's got no choice. But he did tell them that it was perfect, and then it wasn't. Don't promise things you can't keep. So you see, the big message here is that once the public suffers the very real consequences of this outrageous level of incompetence and corporate greed, it will all have been the result of very rich people making very money-oriented decisions. LOL, right? LMAO, even. The doctor even compares himself to Oppenheimer, and I agree, you're both awful and you should both kill. And then we find out how the virus actually leaked from the lab. It was a moment of allyship. Mike and Clara, two scientists working in Ray's lab, bond over their insecurities. Mike is a single, insecure, self-isolated man who has a good heart but no confidence, and Clara is a trans woman in her 50s/60s who is dealing with the challenges of medically transitioning later in life. And once Mike finds out about this virus that they're testing in the basement, he manages to steal 2 doses. He takes one and turns into that guy the assassin killed in my first video back in Rome. And he gives Clara the other dose, who turns into Lux Pascal, real-life trans woman. A virus that turns you hot, but also affirms your gender. Honestly, Ryan kind of ate with that. He kind of ate that, because we can kill people without being dicks about it. And the side plot gives the story a lot more depth and adds an interesting perspective to explore. Unfortunately, that's all we got. Then 2 years later, Mike is killed in Rome, and we never find out what happens to Clara. So I choose to believe that she has boosters for life and is living a nice life by a beach somewhere. Episode 7 gives us Antonio's backstory that nobody asked, but I thought was kind of funny. He was a bodyguard for billionaires, and one day he was left horrifically scarred when socialist eco-terrorists drenched him and his client in acid. Socialist eco-terrorists doused them in acid? Socialist what in the right-wing talking points are we doing right now?
Socialist eco-terrorist fucks who don't understand how the real world works.
Anyway, then Byron found him in the hospital, offered him a job, gave him the beauty, and the beauty fixed everything in his body except for his eye. And now he has an eye patch. Socialist eco-terrorists? At this point, there's an FBI investigation happening. Cooper and Jordan's boss, Meyer, who is overseeing this investigation, has a daughter with progeria, a syndrome that causes people to age much faster than normal. His daughter is 15, but has the heart of a 90-year-old. This has caused a severe strain in his marriage because they fundamentally disagree on how they want to help their daughter. The mom is intent on keeping her alive for as long as possible, whereas Meyer thinks it's best that if at their next crisis, they just let her die peacefully. Well, shelve those existential and very complex conversations for now, because in comes Byron. And he's all like, I have this super cool cure for your daughter that can also make you two look younger and healthier and better. All he wants is for Meyer to kill the investigation at work and hand over Cooper and Jordan on a silver platter for him to take care of privately. No explanation why Jordan was targeted with the virus when she was in Italy. No reasonable explanation as to why he doesn't just have Antonio kill Cooper and Jordan. Like, it felt like they were trying to explain away this investigation so that Byron can actually release the product, but forgot to explain what all these other international agencies are doing. Or not doing. Byron's offer also includes monthly payments, enough for them to live a very wealthy life in paradise, complete with boosters for life. And Myers takes the deal, and honestly, you probably would too. But from here on out, the plot really just goes down a hill like car crash. Myers grants Cooper and a partner an hour access to the lab's data, except when they get there, it's a trap. And they're so damn bad at fighting, Jesus Christ, they both get overpowered by one of the hitmen. Episode 8 unveils the advert they created for the beauty, and it is the worst fucking thing I've seen. It's basically people transforming into younger, skinnier people, but it looks and sounds AI generated, like AI slop. And Byron is super thrilled about this ad, as if it's good. And I can't help but think that if this was published in real life today in the real world, it would get called AI slop. And 100 comments underneath like, at Grok, is this real? Anyway, Byron's little pecker is all fired up after watching this tragic mess, so he starts cutting off funding for all these other projects like space colonization. Now I know Byron is Elon Musk with less gout. But one of the divisions he cuts funding to is the robotics division, spearheaded by Diana. She's a roboticist who believes in the humanity of machines. This is so fucking stupid. So now we're delving into the concepts of living forever through machines instead of through a perfected human body. You heard of biohacking, now it's biotech hacking. Biotech hacking. It's a caca. It's caca. It's absolute caca. Also, shout out to Byron and Franny's 2 middle-aged sons who are drug-addicted, alcoholic losers who spend money on projects like Abroha, the first streaming platform for bros. And Franny, always in the room with a fucking fascinator on her head, encouraging her moronic kids who spend their lives in and out of rehabs and overdoses. So Byron gives them the beauty behind Franny's back, and one of them turns into Jack Nicholson's son, and the other one turns black. What?
I'm 5% Nigerian.
You just know there was no fucking need. Here's a wild concept. Sometimes it's easier to not do it. But Franny is steadfast in her opposition to this lunacy. She still loves her sons, but now vows to destroy Byron as revenge. Meanwhile, all of the infected people from the Vogue incident emerge as goo-covered hotties, only for a SWAT team to descend from the ceiling and shoot them all. Cooper, Jordan, and the hitmen then end up in the same room, and Meyer is there, and he tries telling Cooper to just cooperate, but none of that matters. They've all been betrayed, they're all loose ends, and they're all there to die. Yes, even Antonio, who is now really pissed off at his boss. But lo and behold, another SWAT team descends and saves them. Episode 9, we find out that Diana actually organized this rescue operation with the help of Franny because she's been working covertly to stop Byron's plan to release the beauty into the market. And she's real kooky about it too, you know, talking about how the sacks of flesh we live in suck and how the future is to implant our minds into her robots that she calls deacons so we can truly live forever. Lady, what is this obsession with living forever? Like, dear God, what is out there that people want to see so fucking much or do so fucking long that they refuse to die? There's something very poetic and artistic and creative about accepting our finality. Diana already has working robots. I mean, the SWAT team that rescued them, they are deacons. Yeah, creepy as hell. And the way she talks, I don't know, are we sourcing out her lines to ChatGPT?
Most know me as the mother.
The only mother I see here is the motherfucking nerve. So the big plan to stop Byron from releasing the beauty as a pharmaceutical product is to assassinate him. Problem is, he and his entire security team and tech already know what they all look like, so none of them can get close enough to Byron without getting recognized. Except Cooper, who remains uninfected by the beauty. If he's infected now and emerges as a completely different looking person, he could get close enough to Byron to kill him, and he is an FBI agent, so he has the skills and the intelligence to make the right decisions, right? Diana even explains how she has the lab version of the virus, which is a lot safer because it's been tested extensively, compared to, for example, the version that Jeremy and Jordan have, which is the STD one, which is a lot more prone to anomalies and mutations, and commits to developing treatments that actually work so none of them explode in a few months. And Cooper accepts, and then at last minute, changes his mind and says, no, I don't want to get it intravenously. He wants to get it by sleeping with Jordan. Couldn't have a wank instead? Sorry, I should have mentioned, but World Beauty Day is 48 hours from this meeting. Naturally, there's no time to waste, so of course Cooper and Jordan waste time and go for a fucking meal together at a restaurant, turn it into a romantic date, Not a rush in the world. They go back up to their hotel room after food, and she gets cold feet and she runs out, and then he runs out after her and tells her, "This is my decision." And they profess their I love yous, and they make love intensely. And all I could think about was, are we dumb? First of all, lady who has an army of working robots can't find another way to kill Byron than to have you transform into a different person altogether. Irreversible, by the way, a virus that is highly unstable and might actually make you blow up in a year. But also, hello, sorry, these are FBI agents who were just told that the SCD version is much more unstable and could cause anomalies and mutations, which is the one that Jordan got infected with. So why the fuck? Why do they choose to still sleep together? Like, when I tell you the dumbest FBI agents in the world, I mean it. It's them, it's these two. And guess what happens? Cooper's transformation is a lot more painful and lasts a lot longer. He goes through it in the bathroom, and I quite enjoy this scene. I think that we need to add the body horror in this body horror TV series, and he's in there all night. Jordan calls the hitmen, and they all wait outside with bated breath for the big reveal. And Cooper turns into a teenager, like a 13-year-old. I was howling at this point, because what do you mean you wanted to clap her cheek so bad? Then episode 10 comes in, and would you believe that all this nonsense was for nothing? Byron just went ahead and pulled World Beauty Day ahead by one day. So Cooper just became a teenager for nothing. Because he comes out of his cocoon and ta-da, the beauty is out. All of that for nothing, because then the rest of the episode is about this teenage girl named Bella who becomes obsessed with getting the beauty after some loser at school takes it and storms the hallways like an angry toddler, bragging about how hot she is. Except the beauty is expensive, and she's still a week away from turning 18, and her parents won't give her permission. Bella's luck changes after her best friend undergoes the beauty super premium experience, where she's given some meds and sleeps right through her transformation. A luxury experience just for $7,000. This is unrealistic item number 1 on the list. Like, $7,000 seems very, very low, especially if it includes a luxury stay at a clinic/spa with healthy smoothies and fancy robes and steam, if there's steam. And it was at this spa that her friend got the number of this gay-looking Ken doll who told her if she had any friends who couldn't pay for it the traditional way, to give him a call. So Bella decides to call the number. And that is where episode 10 ends. Just a bizarre place to end the story. Like, there's no narrative beat that it ended on that felt satisfactory. Like, what are we doing? Did that not feel fucking anticlimactic? Episode 11 starts with Franny joyfully dancing with her 2 post-beauty sons, which is all a distraction they create to inject her with the beauty against her will. And she turns into an American.
From the time they were born, you instilled in them the importance of fulfilling your wishes.
She wakes up Nicola Peltz Beckham, and she's pissed. She is seething with the quietest and calmest anger. You wouldn't even know she's mad. See, when you're a billionaire, you don't need to act. You do it for fun. And her character is a callback to Siempre Viva herself from Death Becomes Her. I just wish we would stop using such awful people to honor such iconic and respected performances. But she's pissed, and she gives him a long speech about how she earned her body, and every scar and stretch mark and wrinkle, all evidence of her long life and all her success. And she does all of that with no trace of an accent.
The age I owned, taken from me.
You heard it here first. The beauty makes you sound American too. It's either intentional, which would be giving this show far too much credit, or it could just be her inability to do an accent. Remember, if you're a billionaire, you don't have to act. You do it for fun. But like I said, she is really pissed and angry, and she slits her throat in front of Byron, who panics and starts calling for help. For context, in their last conversation, he said that he wishes he had killed her so many times in the past, and that he's only mad for allowing her to live this long. But she doesn't die. No. Apparently the beauty has made her extra strong, so there's hope. Back to the girl from the previous episode, and she meets up with a gay-looking Ken doll who tells her he injected himself with another dose to make it extra strong. And you know what? This is the type of stupid shit that I actually find very, very plausible. Like, yes, that dumbass teenager would take another dose of a contagious virus to make sure it was strong enough to infect another person. You know, there's levels to this stupidity that I'm willing to accept. Girly Pops goes home and she starts turning and churning and squirming around. Cut to the reveal. Oh my god. Inside the wardrobe, Eliza Sue, but gooey. She's a monster. Like, how is this even biologically possible, deformed kind of monster? That shit looks awful. Like, it's terrible to go through. Would not recommend taking the risk. Like, don't do it. No, 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 no. Vote against it. Cut to Byron getting updates from the beauty's lunch from his company, and it's a fucking mess. A lot of anomalies and mutations are happening, like people emerging the wrong age. Hello, teenage Cooper, we have not forgotten about you yet. Physical deformities from vaginal displacement to full-blown catastrophic whatever that blob is. 6 million doses have been sold with an 83% success rate, with 450,000 reported incidents, a class action lawsuit with over 50,000 people already, several federal agencies launching investigations. Everyone is doing their research now. Even the president has rescinded support for the beauty after one of his cabinet members turned into a child. I'm sorry, they're just turning into what they act like. Yeah, that was a good one. Ah! And Byron, who up until this point has had the decorum and grace of a reversing dump truck without any tires on, suddenly feels bad and like tells them to pay whatever money they're all asking for. It tells them to give everyone boosters for free for life and to get the company working on finding an antidote, finding a cure, and finding treatments. Money is no object, just give them whatever they're asking for. Make it right. He's now wanting to save everyone, even if that means losing all of his wealth. It's that type of character development that happens literally over a second. Yeah. One of his sons storms in trying to usurp the company, but Byron puts him in his place. And then Diana shows up all like, my AI and nanorobots are dismantling the causes and anomalies and blah, 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 and they're gonna find a cure. And Byron's like, give her everything she wants. Find it. Except it's not that simple. Because in a secret meeting, we find out that Diana is secretly working with Byron's son to assassinate Byron. Now it's corporate espionage. Okay. Jesus Christ. Then they bring Morgan and teenage Cooper Kid and the hitmen, and they walk down those stairs looking real stupid. Like it's bring your kid to work day for assassins, and then the adults all went home early. They tell him Byron is erratic and that they found the lead scientist dead, but in his files an accidental antidote that the scientist inadvertently came up with, LOL, and they offer them the cure in exchange for their help. And only teenage Cooper wants to go back to his old self. Interesting. So I guess that Jordan didn't learn anything either with her transformation. Because, I mean, Jeremy's happy with the way he looks, and the other one was old as a hill. They then inject Cooper with this antidote on the basis that they're not sure if it'll work or not. In theory, it should work, but in practice, they're yet to see the results. And then the episode ends with Cooper emerging from his gooey sack and Jordan watching in horror. And we never get a reveal. And that's the beauty. It felt like an aimless project that had the source material locked down, but then struggled to find its footing in TV form. I just think the global epidemic and then the robotics and having the ultimate plan to release the beauty to the wider public just felt very rushed. Like they wanted to do a certain amount this season, right? They had all the bullet points they had to hit, I guess, and they never took the time to flesh out any of them. And they could have. It's like they hire creative, good writers that start off with like a good story and a good setup, and then they fire all of them mid-season, and then they have to finish the story with whoever's left. And whoever's left is not a good writer. But if you asked me, do I want a season 2 and will I be tuning in if they do a season 2? Well, yes. Obviously. It's trash, but I like trash. And I think that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, make sure to leave it a like down below. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That'd be rude. And click that bell notification so you never miss a future upload from me and so I never truly leave you alone. And thanks again to Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to click the link in my description. And until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, and stay stuttering. Bye, guys.